Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between Takulla and Laf, going up against Linger and MartialSpirit. This is a 2v2 game here on Phantom Grove. Good luck, have fun, mens. Right, well, um, I don't know if it's a safe assumption to always know that your opponent is going to be male. Maybe just be our male-dominated culture, but I do know a lot of, or I've seen a lot of, I guess Facebook female profile pics that say that they still play Warcraft 3. So, just say good luck and have fun, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I guess it's also a safe way to open this up as we're looking at what is this? This is a very strange build coming in from Takulla. Altar of Kings first, followed by a blacksmith, followed by a farm. Normally, you don't need the blacksmith this early if you are going to be going for rifleman, as you just won't have enough. Well, you won't have a barracks. So if you have no barracks, there's no real reason to train to build up the blacksmith as of yet. We'll have to keep a very, very close eye on that. Down to the south here, we have I'm just going to call him Laugh. Laugh down across over here, opening up with ghouls. Will be going into Altar of Darkness and eventually some Crypt Fiends. This is Undead Human going up against Night Elf Human in this 2v2. As well, we are looking at Linger opening up here with Keeper of the Grove and still no Ancient of War. All right, very unorthodox plays so far. MartialSpirit opening up with Archmage and Footman, perhaps the most consistent of all of the builds, as we're now looking at the barracks getting placed down. Paladin is going to be first off over here. We're looking at, we're looking at that delayed barracks, a little bit more lumber still to be added. And that's one of those situations where I guess you could have, if you sacrificed earlier to not have 5 peasants on the gold mine, well, then you really didn't need this blacksmith, as it's not doing anything as of yet. If you're watching your replays, trying to figure out how to min-max your builds, how to better use all of that, look at these timings. Look when your buildings are idle, and then that is probably a good indication of when of where you have a little bit of leeway for maximization in your build. Anyways, Keeper the Grove already out and about here, gonna go after this peasant here as we are looking at, well, a little bit of delay. Are we gonna see a holy light? Yes, we are. Rifleman should be added in and start getting trained right here. Militia now getting pushed back as well. There it is, going to go ahead and try and train up that farm. Arcane Tower already upgrading as well. Meanwhile, down to the south here, it is Death Knight alongside some Crypt Fiends. All right, a little bit more harassment coming back as we are looking at the Rifleman about to join in on the battle. And that first Rifleman, a good time, well, before this blacksmith was a good time after that blacksmith was done. Now, for Giant Frost Wolf, Crypt Fiends, Ice Troll, Ice Troll Priest gonna get finished off. More more Skeletal Warriors joining in on the battle here. Giant Frost Wolf dealing critical strike damage onto the Crypt Fiend, so you have to be careful about that as we're looking at the Paladin now looking to retreat back as well. Paladin has no easy way to easily heal himself. Gonna run all the way back home here. But this is going to buy time for the Death Knight to try and clear out a 622 creep camp. During this situation, though, MartialSpirit already setting up an expansion of his own and continuing with all of the creeping as well, will be able to get to level 2. Now, Paladin going to be joined alongside a couple of riflemen, but the Paladin does not have any opportunities to try and get any serious experience. All right, going after the Keeper of the Grove. Are we going to see an entangle? Yes, we are. Paladin, however, does not get entangled for very long as the Militia now coming back over to try and zone out the Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove is going to get squeezed in here. No, Keeper of the Grove able to retreat all the way back. A couple of shots in the back, as well as we're looking at a Wisp about to get detonated. Nope, not detonated, just full-on experience there. All right, more damage getting added through Militia, now being forced to retreat back. We are looking, no, not teching the tier 2, as the Death Knight are made to try and go in for a little bit of a pincer play here. All right, Keeper of the Grove could be in trouble. A little bit of damage right there. Crypt Fiend trying to get in some damage as well. They're trying to make their way down as we're looking at, the Water Elementals joining in on the battle as well. One Archer forced to Shadow Meld, a beautiful pincer play, but the timing on that pinch just wasn't enough to try and, just try and shut it down or shut down that Keeper of the Grove. Archers are making their way back over. We're looking at an expansion. There is also an Ancient Protector right there as well, and the expansion is going to end up being scouted. An Infernal, level 8 Infernal with Chaos damage there. Also 2 towers, 1 Ancient Protector, 1 Arcane Tower, going to easily protect as we're looking at those units back off there. That expansion just too well protected, especially with, well, the random Infernal also joining in on that fight. Hey, hi Mira, how are you doing? We're looking at the Death Knight sitting at level 2, Paladin sitting at level 1, really wants level 2, as we're going to be looking at the Archmage here. Footmen, if they have Defend, would easily fight back against this current army right here, right now, as the Ice Troll Warlord going to get taken down. Circuit of Nobility picked up by the Death Knight. Death Knight nearly at level 3. Units are getting around together. Look at that Paladin walking so quickly, well, was walking so quickly with the help of that Unholy Aura. All right. Looks as though Laf and Takulla opting to try and set up an expansion of their own rather than punish their opponent's expansion. Do I stream my own games? I don't get to play very often. I don't get to play very often. I don't think anyone really wants to watch me play. And by I say not very often, I can probably say I don't play anymore. So yes, I don't stream my own games because of that reason, because I don't play. How about this? I've streamed all the games I've played in the past 2 months. Hi, Rainer. How are you doing? Paladin picking up Gloves of Haste. Militia going to be setting up an expansion as well. And both sides are just going to go into their respective corners for a little bit longer. Teching the Tier 2. I'm already 2/3 of the way done. Meanwhile, we're looking at Tech of the Tier 2 already nearly done by MartialSpirit. So MartialSpirit already has the expansion, already going into dual racks and getting this blacksmith up as well. Meanwhile, Naga Sea Witch, Keeper of the Grove, going to be putting pressure onto Takulla's base here, and this is just not going to be very good news at all, as we are looking at, well, Takulla also low on lumber. Coming back around, we're looking at them and trying to engage here, and just the miscommunication between Takulla and Laf gonna have some major serious problems. There's a lumber mill trying to get added in. There's a call to arms. They're not even joining in on the battle, let alone repairing that arcane tower, as we're looking at that arcane tower trying to feed back some damage here. Expansion gonna end up getting pressured here, as this is just a war on 2 fronts and just getting surrounded so easily. Defend on the Footman now, as Defend on the Footman going to make it impossible to try and focus down with Crypt Fiends. Lich is going to have to do some overtime work with that Frost Nova. Coming back off to the north here, we're looking at the Rifleman and the Paladin looking to perhaps put some pressure onto the Archers. Meanwhile here, this Town Hall down to 200 hit points, going to be forced to get canceled. And well, this game is just going extremely well for, well, no, there is actually a good number of Footmen getting taken out there, but the game is going surprisingly well for Red, as the Archers are now trying to retreat back. Paladin now trying to fight back here. We are getting up some riflemen. We are getting into mortars. We need to see more lumber getting harvested, sitting on 1,200 gold almost, but only 86 lumber, and not able to set up an expansion for a little while longer. All right. What is this transition going to look like? Are we going to see a holy light? Yes, there we are. Riflemen trying to get into position here, searing arrows onto those riflemen. Riflemen actually have a decent armor against piercing, so they're really not taking that much damage either, as we're looking at the giant frostwolf getting taken down. Pure up by vitality, better for that Paladin. Webcam is off. It's not set up properly for some reason. I can turn it on, but the device is not being registered, so decided to just have it off, at least for now. Undead, it does have an expansion here, so we are running up 3 bases to 3 bases. Game isn't too far behind, as we're looking at, well, Archmage and Bloodmage working together. Siphon mana into that Archmage should equal to more water elementals. Bloodmage should really consider siphoning mana away from some of those archers or some of those other units as well, and then funneling it back into the Archmage here. Archmage already topped out on mana. Bloodmage is going to be very close to level 2. Back off to the north, Paladin doing some work and to finish off some more of these units. Scroll of Regeneration Healing. We are looking at a workshop going into mortar or into flying machines. Sentry wards not getting picked up, as there just wasn't enough room right there. Blood Mage hanging down to the south here, 400 gold still getting transferred. So Undead with plenty of gold, and they're purposely just trying to stay within low upkeep or no upkeep for as long as possible. All right, in goes that engagement here. Going to go into a fight. There's Blizzard raining down. There's the Fen on the Footmen, as the Footmen are going to have an easy time there. Siphon mana right there away as well, as the Death Knight, Death Coil going after the Blood Mage. Blood Mage could be in a lot of trouble. Blood Mage is in trouble, gets taken down pretty easily, as that was the only target to really try and go after, especially with the rifle, especially with, well, defend on all of those Footmen. For supply 44 and what 56 now. Undead finally going into low upkeep, and now are they going to try and put pressure where are they going to try and put pressure next is the question. Death Knight does have healing wards. Accidentally zoomed in just a little bit more. Crypt Fiends about to continue to make their way back over here, but still no second expansion at all. Communication, we are at Black Citadel, needs to get that Orb of Corruption. Crypt Fiends do not have the backpack upgrades, so it's going to be a little bit of time before that Lich is able to get that Orb of Corruption, allowing for that negative armor debuff. And that negative armor debuff would then put in additional, well, damage on the Riflemen and those Crypt Fiends together. We're looking at Sentry Wards getting picked up here, once again going to move back around. And, well, even though this is a 2v2 match, there seems to be a lot more creeping than I would have normally thought. Both sides able to do a lot more creeping than what I consider normal here, as the giant skeleton warrior is going to get finished off. All right, Blood Mage could just try to like siphon. Oh, there's a little bit more chain lightning going back around here. I'm going to go ahead and heal back up. That's an easy heal right there. Blood Mage could have tried to siphon more mana from the Void Walker, but the Void Walker already low. Level 2 now on that Blood Mage, who has Ruined Bracers. Lich, no Orb of Corruption as of yet. Nope, not getting even transferred. Nope. Pit Lord actually, or Crypt Lord, carrying it on over. Orb of Corruption on that Lich. Frost Nova coupled with, well, Orb of Corruption damage, negative armor debuff can easily put pressure on the opposing army. Meanwhile, we're looking at the Night Elf. Are they going to be able to defend here? We are looking at another expansion attempt coming in from MartialSpirit, as the first expansion is, well, still has about 12 minutes to go. All right, new expansion going to be placed down as well. Expansions galore, as Riflemen with range looking to put in pressure as well. 550 or 600 hit point or 600 range, 550 on those Crypt Fiends, battling it through. Red Army needs to get there and in a hurry. Priestess of the Moon does not have True Shot Aura, interestingly enough, has Orb of Venom, and this might be a triple Orb of Venom strategy eventually, as the Naga Sea Witch could actually benefit there. Alright, in comes that engagement here. Death Knight needs to get a Death Coil off on that Crypt Lord, gets the 400 hit point heal. There's the Impale, finishing things off. Lich now sitting up at level 3, and in comes that damage here. Alright, Flame Strike now coming down, as we're looking at, well, damage adding up onto those Footmen. A little bit of friendly fire there. Damage has to be careful, as the Blood Mages are going after each other here. Alright, Healing Ward being positioned down, but Healing Wards are immune to magic, so you can see that the Healing Ward is getting counteracting the damage on that Flame Strike. Beautifully done there, as the Obsidian statues are there as well. More fighting underway, going back and forth. Lich looking to get some damage, perhaps going to be able to finish off a Priestess of the Moon. Priestess of the Moon does end up falling, as the Crypt Lord is still in a little bit of trouble. Finally, a Rifleman able to shoot down that Healing Ward there. Blood Mage has fallen at level 2. Blizzard now going up into the air, as we're looking at Focus Fire onto the Archmage, perhaps, as the units are trying to back away. Paladin a little bit too far there, as the Riflemen are trying to go down. There goes another Rifleman getting shot over. All right, one Crypt Fiend, well, was slowed, did not get devoured magic, and that is going to get Dark Ritual denied. No, it is not. No Dark Ritual as of yet. Units are going to be retreating back. Sentry Ward keeping track right there. What Laf is trying to tell his partner to try and expand in that location, but that actually looks like a very bad idea, as we look at Mountain Giants already holding that position there as well. Are they going to hold there is the key. And we're looking at, well, Cannon Towers, 47 supply over 54, still low on lumber, getting advanced lumber harvesting finally after all this time. All right, Peasants now going to transition over. They don't even have enough lumber to try and build as of yet. And we're getting more and more fly machines joining in on the battle. Has there actually been any real air units to try and deal with? That is the question. Or are they going to go for bombardment? Yeah, that is a large. Yeah, bombardment seems to be the strategy, and they're going to be trying to engage here in just a second. Death Knight or Crippler about to get to level 2. We are going to be getting perhaps spiked. No armor at all. Lich is sitting at level 3, and they're going to be going into a slight engagement here. All right, peasants now already walking back. They should be trying to set up that expansion. Not quite yet. Right, this is just absolutely strange. Flame Strike going down there, but the Flame Strike actually broken in time, as we're looking at the Death Knight trying to push back the other way. All right, this is a 2v1 fight. Army of the Night Elf actually scouting out to see if there is an expansion there. No expansion. Flame Strike now coming down, but once more being canceled again. I don't know if it was because of an impale or anything like that. Couple mortar teams and sorceresses now trying to retreat back, but Death Knight with Unholy Aura level 2 should be able to catch up to them easily. All right, coming back off to the north here, Mountain Giants going to put pressure onto all of this right over here. There is a squadron of flying machines, 2-0 upgraded, ready to fight at engage, as we are looking at the cannon tower getting in a little bit of damage here. All right, little bit of damage here. Repairs trying to get underway. That is not going to work out well. Where is the rest of the human army? Human army, there is one paladin, and the blood mage. That is pretty much it. As the squadron of flying machines, what can they really hope to do in terms of damage? All right, there goes that one barracks. No more riflemen at all. Treants are going to get taken out, and here we are, a little bit of pressure. But mass flying machines, is it going to take down a lot of things? That is going to be, well, rather interesting, as we're looking at the workshop about to be lost here. All right, fly machines, can't even see them on the map. You can see them on the mini map, but you can't even see them on the map at all. As we're looking at the riflemen continuing to push here. All right, down to the south here. Scroll of Town Portal trying to protect, and it is going to end up protecting. There goes the undead army ready to finish off some of these units here. Meanwhile, well, nope. Blue is still coming back across here, putting in pressure, finishing things off, and we may be looking at a Flame Strike there. Flame Strike onto those peasants. Peasants are going to try and back away. Paladin going to try and finish things off, and this is a weird one-on-one fight down here. There's a quick impale, and where flying machines are still gathering off to the north. That strategy may just end up working out well, because it is just completely unexpected, as they're going to be making their way down here. All right, Obsidian Statue, Rifleman Army all in position. Crippler going to get taken down. It gets taken on pretty easily. Death Knight unable to get the Death Coil off, as we're looking at them continuing to try and push back against all of these units. All right, mass archers. There goes another Frost Nova against a Mountain Giant. Mountain Giant, oh, Death Coil not in time, as the Mountain Giant gets stabbed of preservation back home. All right, we're looking at 58 supply riflemen, fly machines, going to be going into 3-0 upgrades here momentarily. Damage is going to get added across here as well, as we're looking at the Mountain Giants get stabbed of preservation again. Death Knight trying to make its way back over, as the sorceresses are here as well. All right, are we going to get some Devour magic? That is the key question. Off of all of that slow, riflemen joining in, and the Necropolis gets destroyed just as it gets finished off. Meanwhile, what is this? Flying machines bombarding and going to finish off many of these buildings here. It looks as though the Tree of Eternity may end up getting taken down, and that is just, well, the squadrons doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, a little bit of hideaway tactic, and just simply not expected at all. All right, main building about to get taken down. Tree of Eternity is going to fall. There is now no mountain giants have nowhere to easily teleport to, as though we're looking at the Tree of Eternity getting taken out. Down to the south here, well, Death Knight trying to retreat back, being forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal to try and make its way back out here, as the flying machines are just destroying all of the key tech and building of the Night Elf base. All right, Lafaf is actually trying to tell his partner to come back, but there's no reason to come back at all. This fight is actually going extremely well inside that base there. Just a lot of Night Elf units, or a lot of Night Elf units who can't attack against those flying machines either. There goes another quick impale, as we're looking at the Paladin trying to fight back once more. All right, Death Knight looking to engage. All right, down, actually dealing some damage to the Keeper of the Grove and also that Mountain Giant. A weird, odd game going back and forth, as the Death Knight able to get a Death Coil Frost Nova, finishing off that last unit. All right, trying to retreat back again. Oh, Fork Lightning, Flame Strike. All the units are backing away, and so much friendly fire damage from Blizzard and Flame Strike hitting their own units. Mortar teams actually finally destroying here. However, the entire Night Elf base is pretty much main base is already gone. All right, mortar teams looking to go into a fight here once more. What is going down? Well, Crypt is about to get taken out. Units were actually able to retreat all the way through as this tree line was destroyed. All right, Mortar teams trying to take down the Altar of Elders, making it difficult to, well, even get those heroes back. And yes, all of those heroes are pretty much now gone. All right, meanwhile, Paladin coming back into the center here. Are we going to finish off some of those units? No, we are not. Can take down perhaps the peasant who was hoping to try and train up some additional heroes back in the center portion of the map. Mortar flying machines finishing off here. 3-0 upgrades now done. And well, 3-0 upgrades now done. Rifleman sitting at 3-1 as the Paladin does have level 2 or level 2 devotion aura. All right, this is too much violence for a single match. Everything is just falling left and right. Another Fork Lightning finishing off that Crypt Lord once again as, well, what is that? Laugh is getting revealed right here. No, Linger is getting revealed. Laugh may also get revealed as well as the Blood Mage now comes in from the far side. Are we going to get some Flame Strikes? That is the question. Mortar teams, both sides just absolutely shutting each other down. Where are the rest of the flying machines, though? Are the flying machines going after? You can hardly see them. They are just all stacked up on top of each other. But flying machines going up against flying machines now. 2-0 upgrades against 3-0 upgrades. But the sheer number of flying machines, well, coming in from MartialSpirit able to handle that as well. Mortar team's trying to fight back again, and it looks like MartialSpirit was able to transition back over. No, I take it back. MartialSpirit's own castle is about to get taken down, but the castles, do they make that big of a difference at all? That is the question, as the main bases are nearly mined out anyways. Units are still trying to make their way back across here. Main bases are still trying to make their way back across here. I don't know who would be calling my wife at 6:50 in the morning. This is just absolutely distracting. Meanwhile, fly machines continuing to bombard as well. It looks as though Arcane Sanctum could get taken down. Now trying to go after those farms. Riflemen, mountain giants, mortar teams continuing to push on through. If they call again, it's probably a family, and I need to pick it up. All right, Blood Mage now coming back through. There goes Frost Nova on to a Priest as well. Mountain Giants trying to take down these Ziggurats. Mortar teams coming back across here, and it's turning into an absolute base race scenario. All right, base race scenario once more. Unit's going to try and perhaps defend this line here. And, well, I don't believe that human MartialSpirit was actually ready to do a 2-on-1 fight in this location. All right, Archmage could be in a little bit of trouble. Paladin is here to try and do a little bit of healing as well. Mortar teams are getting taken down. Blood Mage forced to retreat, as we're going to see a death buff picking off unit after unit. Mountain Giant going to get easily taken out as it didn't have a Scroll of Town Portal to try and save it. Fly machines going after, well, the Sea Witch. The Sea Witch actually unable or doesn't isn't very effective against the fly machines. The Orb of Venom doesn't deal poison damage over time since they are mechanical, and I don't believe they can actually be targeted by Forked Lightning, as they are mechanical as well. All right, this game going oddly in different directions. We are looking at, well, gold mines being trying to mine from 400 gold here, or the 460 gold here, trying to clear out more gold mines, see where everything is going to end up falling apart here. Paladin about to get to level 5 during the clear out here as the Death Knight picks up a Book of the Dead and is now going to be hunting a gold mine to the south. Where are these fly machines going to be traveling off to? Thank you, Cadence, for the subscription. Yeah, subs are going to probably, until I can figure out what to do with my YouTube channel, going to be the main source of income to try and get everything before, well, yeah, get everything together once again. Fly machines trying to back away, and well, and they do exactly that. Fly machines with flak cannons, 3-0 upgrades going up against 3-0, but the Paladin is not nearby enough to actually give devotion aura to these fly machines. But the superior numbers, well, means that things just snowball, especially with, well, those flak cannons doing splash damage. All right, asking for gold once more. Needing to get a little bit of gold since he's not mining from any base at all, needing this to try and speed this up again. All right, I don't know, I feel like Takulla and Laugh at the end of this game both of them are going to think that they are the reason why they won the game, and if only the other person listened to them more, they would actually have an easier job in this fight. All right, mortar teams coming in from the back here can actually start lobbying and attacking against these buildings here, but this expansion only has 300 gold as well. It's not really worth that fight either. Coming back through, Lich is already sitting at level 5. Where is that Crypt Lord? Crypt Lord going to be coming back across Keeper of the Grove, Naga Sea Witch, and here we are. This is going to be perhaps a very bad engagement against all of those units. No Frost Nova. There's a Death Coil and a Banish onto that Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove could easily get taken out once again. The units are trying to make their way back over as the mortar team's not able to do that much. There goes another Death Coil after the target, clearing out a tree line there, and now a Flame Strike also going down as well. All right, mining still happening once again. More flying machines getting added to the army. Who has better, well, who has more right now? That is the question. As a blizzard now raining down to stop this, well, siege attack from behind the trees. Haunted Gold Mine, Lafaf is currently mining up from 3 bases, I believe, and that is giving the economic advantage. Meanwhile, Takulla, or Esconar, Takulla not over mining at this gold mine, perhaps could use a little bit lumber or actually move his units around the map and try to set up another expansion somewhere else. Paladin sitting at level 5. Keeper of the Grove sitting at level 3, Naga Sea Witch sitting at level 3, and then Priestess of the Moon sitting at level 3. That's one way to get around that Orb of Venom strategy. Just have a large amount of mechanical units. Now, interestingly enough here, we do have inner fire on these flying machines who now have 7 armor and should win out in that fight. If they go up against the other flying machines, the flying machines actually deal less damage. The flying machine bonus is what, +2 or +1 damage, or +2 damage, 10% bonus damage, and also, well, the flying machine looks like it's coming to an end. Flying machine's units are going to try to all back away once more. Where are all of the units traveling off to? We have an Owl Scout keeping track of the army here, as we are looking at perhaps some footmen now making their way down. Not going to be able to do much against that expansion location either. Expansion location here. Couple of footmen trying to fight back against these acolytes. Acolytes just going to wander around. However, destroyers, dealing that damage, not going to have any problem finishing off those units at all. There goes one. There goes another footman, as we could be going into some long distance mining, perhaps flying machines actually getting caught away from the rest of their squadron here. That is not good news. These flying machines are all going to get taken down. Well, nope, no, one does not get taken down. That one does get taken down, though, as the flying machine's unable to catch up and close in on that distance. 55 supply here. Fly machine's going to try and retreat and regroup. Not quite sure where they went. Did they all get shot down? That could be the case, and now we could perhaps transition into a different unit once more. All right, Knights, Animal War Training getting added across. Late game tech swap once again, as we're looking at, units getting finished off here. Why was the destroyers attacking the friendly mortar teams? That would have been, bad news again, as the units are continuing to fight. The map's interesting. The map's interesting at being able to have multiple expansions. There's a lot of narrow walkways that you or your partner can end up fighting pretty quickly. We're looking at a Spellbreaker trying to break through enemy lines. Is going to be able to run by there. One more shot. Nope, not going to be able to do that, as mortar teams should be able to finish off all of these buildings pretty quickly. And now it may just turn down into a straight up a base race scenario. Mortar teams, looking to finish off these buildings here, should be able to do that job really easily. Now, what is going to happen with red? MartialSpirit, Knights getting entangled, getting trapped on the way to locations here, as we're looking at fly against Esconar here, trying to take down some of these buildings, those buildings as well. Naga Sea Witch getting off of Fork Lightning, but still, now we are going into a straight up base destroying scenario. Mortar teams do deal large amounts of damage. Going to try and finish off those guard towers, so that the rest of the units can now make their way across as well. Mortar teams perhaps going to finish off the cannon towers too, a little bit too far away. More damage getting added in. All right, one expansion getting taken down. Keeper of the Grove going to go ahead and teleport. Where is it teleporting back? No. Yeah, back off over here to try and protect Mortar Team's Flame Strike. Riflemen trying to make their way back on through. Blood Mage now going to try and retreat back. Entangled, coupled with Siphon Mana, extremely effective. Meanwhile, the Destroyers are taking a lot of damage just standing there and may end up falling here. Obsidian Statues trying their best to keep those units alive and well as the Flying Machines are now, well, flacking up against some of that damage. The Crypt Fiends are going to be webbing down many of those Flying Machines slowly but surely as the Archmage needs to get a Scroll of Town Portal to try and break free. However, the Keeper of the Grove has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and is going to be forced to stick around in this fight. All right, there goes level 3 onto the Priestess of the Moon. However, it's inside the Keeper of the Grove, trading a level 4 Keeper of the Grove and a level 3 Priestess of the Moon against a level 5 Death Knight. Not quite sure which actually comes out ahead as the Archmage comes back down to the south here. All right, more damage coming back across, more Blizzard coming in, no more Impales. Well, there is damage right there. Cryptlord could have blindly impaled, and I believe that is going to be the game. Just simply too many heroes as the Blood Mage. Now, a quick impale right there, followed by Lightning Shield, and that is going to be the GG. MartialSpirit and Linger losing to Takulla and, Takulla and Lafaf. Takulla with an odd gyrocopters flying machine strategy that no one was expecting, sniping down bases very quickly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, let's actually see what the ending was. There resurrection? I think there was resurrection. Yeah. All right. Come on. We don't need to see. All right, there we go. So Lafaf and Esconar, Lafaf doing a great job with his heroes. Our Esconar doing a great job sniping down opponents' bases. Lafaf really carrying the team, but Esconar with that sneaky. It's Lafaf, by the way. Lafaf. L-A-F-A. Okay. Lafaf. Lafaf. Okay. I don't know. When you camel case like that, I feel like that should be the start of the second syllable. Lafaf. Okay. Anyways, coming back across here. Great game. Hope you guys enjoyed it.